Welcome back to the Great Lakes International Innovation Summit. For our first panel this morning, we're going to be hearing about how various cities and counties in the Great Lakes region have worked to innovatively transform their respective communities. We have today with us Paula Noss, Director of UM-Flint Office for Economic Development, Antonio Mitchell, Community Investment Manager for the City of Kalamazoo, and Mandy Bishop, Director of Public Service for the City of Columbus. I'm going to have each of our panelists give a brief self-introduction and then share their presentations, and we're going to kick things off with Paula.
Thank you, Megan. I'm Paula Noss, and I'm the Director of the Office of Economic Development at the University of Michigan-Flint. And I want to thank Megan and Christine and the rest of her team for putting this wonderful event together. And, especially in this virtual environment, I know how difficult that is. And thank you all for being here today. So Megan had asked us to talk a little bit about our impact in Flint and in the county and in the region. And I have a short presentation that Megan's going to run for me. So Megan, if we want to start that would be great.
Okay.
So like I said, I'm the Director of the Office of Economic Development at U of M-Flint. And within that office is housed several signature programs, one of them being an innovation incubator. We also have a GIS center. We have a cybersecurity training center. And we have our EDA University Center for Community and Economic Development, which David Moreau runs. So we're going to focus today mostly on our innovation incubator and on our EDA University Center. So our EDA University Center, by its name, it's clear that it's funded by the U.S. Economic Development Administration. And we just received word a couple of weeks ago that we will be funded to do our work for the next 5 years. So that's great news for us because we continue to work with our 7-county region. You can see highlighted in yellow. So we have Genesee County where Flint is located, and then, east and west of us, and then up into the Thumb region of Michigan, as we call it. So what we do with our Innovation Incubator and EDA Center is we really try and find kind of creative ways to support entrepreneurs, innovators, build the entrepreneurial mindset, build that pipeline for commercialization. And then this time we also added some workforce development pieces around cybersecurity training. Next slide, please. So with our EDA University Center and more broadly for our Office of Economic Development, we focus on 3 main areas you see here: economic development, community development, and innovation and entrepreneurship. Next, please. Today we're going to look at, like I said, innovation and entrepreneurship, a little bit about GIS mapping and data analysis and how that supports our local entrepreneurs, and a little bit about our future plans. This slide here is really just kind of reminding us from time to time and kind of a graphic representation of, how broad our reach is. We'll talk a little bit more in a minute about how we work with very local entrepreneurs, regional entrepreneurs, and then we have a broader reach, and we have several different funders. So our Innovation Incubator was founded about 20 years ago. And its initial intent was to help student entrepreneurs on campus. About 10 years ago, the C.S. Mott Foundation really wanted us to focus also on our local community entrepreneurs. So we created what's called the Innovation Incubator. And what that does is, we provide one-on-one technical assistance for small businesses, nonprofits, and also for municipalities. And really, when we think about our whole suite of innovation services at U of M-Flint, we're looking at being an entry point for innovators and entrepreneurs, we say, of all stages and of all ages. And you'll see what I mean by that in a minute. So we had, for many years, worked with entrepreneurs in Flint and Genesee and beyond in the region. And we also worked with the group that created an innovation hub in downtown Flint called the Ferris Wheel. What we found when we did the studies prior to the creation of the Ferris Wheel Innovation Hub was that there was a whole group of entrepreneurs who were being left out of the system. And we tried to figure out how we could best address that need. And I think that's part of what Megan wanted me to talk about today. We created a program called In on the Road. So we took our typical business boot camp and we worked with our School of Management at U of M-Flint and some local entrepreneurs to design a curriculum by local entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. And what we do is we facilitate those sessions in community centers in neighborhoods around Flint. So we'll go in churches, we'll go in community centers, we'll go in schools, and it's a several-week session where we do some of the facilitation, but a lot of that is led by local entrepreneurs from our area who can share their successes and share their struggles with entrepreneurs who are trying to launch their businesses or grow their businesses in Flint. You know, and along the way, you all know, you discover that it's really important to work very closely with your entrepreneurs to make sure that at every step of the way, they're aware of the resources, they know what's available to them. You know, some of our entrepreneurs, they're not even banked. So, you know, we work with them and getting banked and with our local CDFI to really make sure their business grows. And then from then, we work very closely to continuously engage with them very intentionally to make sure we provide those support services, wraparound services, whatever it is those entrepreneurs need. So we've worked with the North Flint Food Market, which is a co-op that recently was funded by the MEDC and the Mott Foundation and other funders in Flint. We also have worked with some of the local organizations like the Flint Development Center. And then we work closely with our CDFI to make sure that, you know, we're helping entrepreneurs how they need it, when they need it, and to the extent they need it. So what we're really trying to do now is, you know, move the services of the Inn on Road beyond Flint and Genesee County and expand to the broader region, the state of Michigan, or whoever thinks that curriculum might be valuable. And also changing the curriculum as needed to, you know, maybe it's for food entrepreneurs or specific segments of the economy. Next. We also formed a partnership with the Brookings Metropolitan Policy Program. We hosted several summits, roundtables with community partners. And from those summits, from those roundtables and further work with Brookings, next please, we decided to focus on two main areas, and that is creating a more inclusive talent pipeline. Therefore, with our EDA Center, we're working more on workforce development than we used to, and also really making more effort to foster a more inclusive ecosystem for entrepreneurs in Flint and Genesee County. Next. So when I talk about being an entry point for entrepreneurs and innovators of all ages and all stages, enters youth entrepreneurship with our Young Sharks program. We had been taking our Inn on the Road program to the only remaining public high school in Flint, Flint Southwestern Classical Academy. We had been doing that for several years. And then we decided that really we needed to instill that entrepreneurial mindset in entrepreneurs at a much younger age. So we worked with a local educator to create a youth entrepreneurship program for grades 3 through 5, and it's called Young Sharks. Young Sharks is a curriculum intended to help teachers. It creates lesson plans over a several-week period where the lesson plans are already there, ready for the teacher to use, and we've incorporated state of Michigan content standards into those lesson plans around entrepreneurship, innovation, creativity, and economics. And some of the things that the students learn in that is they learn, you know, about teamwork, they learn about leadership, they learn about, you know, having an idea and pivoting from one idea to another. And this has really taken off. The educators love it. They love the fact that, you know, they don't have to redo all of their course plans, that they can work this into what they already need to teach during the day. So we have a lot of interest in this. We're launching year 3 of this year, and already we've had more than 700 students participate in this program that culminates usually in a large pitch competition on campus. It's virtual now, but we hope to get back to that more in-person environment. Next. So seeing the need for more, you know, entrepreneurship with our youth, we also launched last year the Junior Sharks program, which is kind of the companion piece for grades 6 through 8. So assuming that students, you know, they may or may not have gone through Young Sharks, they could, you know, continue where Young Sharks left off, or they can move on and just start new with Junior Sharks in 6th through 8th grade. Next. So that's a lot of what we do with our external partners around innovation and entrepreneurship. We also launched last year the Michigan Wolverine Innovation Network on campus. And that's a program for our faculty. We have our Faculty Innovation Fellows program where they go through basically a business boot camp. Some of you helped facilitate some of those sessions this year. It's an entire semester. And when they get done with that, they really have the tools to figure out, number one, how to teach innovation and entrepreneurship in their courses. And if they have their own idea, they are better aware of the resources that are available to help move that forward. And then the second thing we've done with MWin is we've created this capstone course for our students, and it's interdisciplinary capstone course where students from all different areas can work together to work on an innovation needed by either a local business or a regional business, to identify some of those needs and gaps in the system that our students are able to solve. And this gives our students also experience working in teams, much like our keynote speaker said. I mean, these are the kinds of experiences they're going to need someday in the workforce. Next. Okay, so just briefly, I also want to talk about how within our office we use our GIS center to help local entrepreneurs. And these are, some of the groups that we work with. But more importantly for this session, if you can move to the next slide, please, Megan. Our GIS center, over the last couple of years has done a lot of work around mapping opportunity zones, and our local municipalities have found this very useful as they're trying to bring businesses in the area. We also provide some in-plan services to our municipalities and to our economic development partners. And then our local CDFI also asked us a couple of years ago to do a retail leakage analysis so they could really figure out which areas of Flint would be best for which kinds of small businesses. So we've had some other interest in that kind of mapping. And then when we just briefly, we can talk about how we've supported the community through, work we did with the census, the Community Foundation of Greater Flint, asked our office to do some work around those hard to count areas and trying to figure out how we can get those individuals in those areas to respond to the census request. Next. Okay, so future plans. Next, please. We're expanding the MWin program. Like all of you, we're trying to figure out how to better virtualize the programs we have. And kind of the beauty of that is, as we talk in this more regional multi-state conference, I think it's really important for all of us to share the resources we have, the experiences we have. And I think that's why Megan's invited us all here today. If any of you are interested in any of these programs, certainly, I would love to talk with you, whether it's youth programming or our adult programming, or even how our GIS center could help support you with any kind of data analysis needs or visualization. And then the other really exciting thing that's going on campus is we just opened a new college of innovation and technology. And part of that is being supported both by the C.S. Mott Foundation and by the EDA. And our office is really working on trying to figure out how we can connect our campus and community partners with that College of Innovation and Technology as it moves forward. Next. So thank you all. I appreciate you listening. And thank you again, Megan, for the invitation.
Absolutely. Does anybody have any quick questions for Paula? If not, we'll bring on Antonio Mitchell and he will introduce himself, make his presentation, and we can answer additional questions at the end. Okay. Thank you so much, Paula. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good morning, Antonio. The show is yours.
All right, thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Great Lakes International, for asking me to present. Do not have a PowerPoint, just will be speaking on some of the initiatives that we have here in the city of Kalamazoo, in particular focusing on community economic development with a focus on entrepreneurship. Just a little bit about Kalamazoo. We are located on I-94. It is the highway that is between city of Detroit and the city of Chicago on I-94, which is main highway going in between those two cities. So we're smack dab in the middle of Michigan. pretty much a major gateway in between those areas. We have Western Michigan University here, a Division I college, Kalamazoo Community College, private college, and we also have everyone's heard of Pfizer. We have the Pfizer COVID vaccine that's being produced here in our metro community area here off I-94. So we have nice abundant population, like I said, of 73,000, but the regional area is close to around 300,000 in our county. One component that triggered a lot of our new initiatives here, in particular for entrepreneurship development, of course, was COVID. We had to create some innovative ways to assist existing businesses to, of course, stay open. And then we also had to figure out a way how to retain those businesses and provide additional dollars. And so one thing that we are blessed with is that a number of years ago, around 2017, between 2015 and 2017, we developed Imagine Kalamazoo 2025. In that initiative, it was a focus on, of course, family and business development growth in the city and making it more equitable for the community. And in that process, the Foundation for Excellence was created because of the Imagine Kalamazoo 2025 plan. We had pretty much donors in the community, in the regional area, that provided funding to assist in that vision and plan to initiate. In that process, just this past year, they committed additional $400 million over the next 10 years to assist in reinvesting into this initiative of Imagine Kalamazoo 2025. In that focus area is, of course, business development and growth. And one of the main components is, of course, entrepreneurship, but the other component is workforce development that we're focusing on. So those are the two areas that we're initiating. In that process of COVID, we initiated dollars from the FFE, Foundation for Excellence, to assist in retaining businesses. And we created a pretty much a revolving loan fund program, and we created a business sustainability grant program. But the difference with the business sustainability grant program was it focused on micro businesses. So in that process, we were focused on businesses that were less than 10 employees. A lot of the businesses that, of course, were bigger than that were working with the federal funding components of getting dollars from there to sustain themselves. But we noticed that a lot of the smaller businesses were having trouble getting dollars on the federal level, but also having trouble in the sense of the documentation. And so we were able to be a little bit more flexible because we were using non-government dollars with the Foundation for Excellence to assist that in that process. So in that process of identifying these micro businesses and working towards that initiative to assist them to sustain themselves, that year we identified 80 micro businesses that we were able to assist. So in the last 2 years, though, we continued the program because it was so successful in not only helping those businesses stay open, but also with the loan program that we assisted businesses with. We were helping businesses, of course, that weren't, as say, bankable in the sense of that the banks were a little hesitant in assisting them. Pretty much we assisted another like 50 banks, 50 businesses in the sense of in that process. And we didn't have a default of those funds in that year and a half that we started the program. I think we had our first default this year, just the last month. And in that process, because we're not a bank, we're restructuring their loan to assist in that process. Now, in that process, though, as everyone knows, government is a little slow. So we worked with the greater Battle Creek and Kalamazoo United Way to assist with developing these programs to be not only more accessible, but more business friendly in getting money out the doors. And so in that process of developing that relationship, not only did we find out that they were really efficient at doing this, but the United Way has a great knack of really tracking a lot of data. One thing that we found out in this process that we were able to help a lot of women and minority businesses. Pretty much between 80 and 90% of the businesses were women or minority businesses that we were assisting, in the sense of especially the microloan program, which was huge. In the sense of the pretty much equity initiative of family development underneath the Imagine Kalamazoo initiative. So in that process, like I said, we created not only those programs, but what it did as well is it opened up the door for us to work with some minority contractors to assist them during this time period, and expanded that initiative. And we identified around 30 small micro business entrepreneur businesses that were African American owned and needed assistance. And so what we did was we created a certification training program, educational initiative program. We've worked with our local home builders associations to create additional training and assistance to help them expand. And then we also work with them to work with United Way to access some dollars. In the same time period, we had already created pretty much a program to assist underneath our business development fund program with the city of Kalamazoo to create technical assistance program that had started off around $750. Then it jumped to $2,500. Now it's around $5,000. You can access grant dollars to assist you with your business development, with our business development fund with technical assistance. And then in that same time period, between last year and this year, we created under the business development fund, a white box development program and a facade program. Sorry to say, because of the COVID pandemic, we've lost some storefront, but also in that process, you lose some of that initiative downtown as well. So we usually did not do any facade or white box, meaning the white box is building out the interior development in the downtown area, because they have their own district, a TIF district. But because of COVID, we expanded that, which has been very helpful. So we've helped a number of businesses downtown and in our corridors, not only sustain themselves, but also come back. And some businesses have expanded, especially some of our food service businesses that were doing very well in their pickup and drop off and delivery process during the COVID time period, as they transition to being in a better position today than they were like a year ago. And so in that process of creating these business platforms, we recognized that we also needed to create another component, which we created a gap financing program that can assist a business that's growing and expanding with gap financing up to $25,000. Now, all these funds are coming from the Foundation for Excellence. These are not general fund dollars. And so it gave us more flexibility to assist, more capability to be, as they say, more transparent in the sense of not only who we were helping, but why we were helping those populations in their growth and development plans. So in that process, like I said, we identified 90 businesses last year and an additional 80 this year. So we have 170 businesses on the micro business entrepreneurship platform that we're going to be working with. In that process last year as well, we purchased Salesforce to assist us with not only tracking those businesses, but also helping us create a data platform to work with those businesses in their initiative. One component that was real important that assisted us with some of our planning and initiative was underneath the Foundation for Excellence, a component called Share Prosperity Kalamazoo was created that focuses on 2-gen Alice families in specific neighborhoods in our community. So we had 3 neighborhoods that had pretty much 5,000 households that fit into Alice platform. And Alice is asset limited, income constraint, employed. So low income households, and what we found out also with those Alice households, there was a lot of single moms. And so what we're doing now is looking at expanding our platform to really work on expanding home-based business development in 2022, and really expanding hopefully a new incubator as well in 2022 here off of downtown Kalamazoo. We're going to be also focused on mobile truck business build out initiative, And that is to assist in the platform of some of these businesses that are in their households that want to expand out, that have some ideas of not creating a restaurant space, but creating a mobile business. We can assist them in that process. We're going to be really focusing in next year, like I said, not only on home-based businesses, but also startup businesses, working with the incubator in that process. And then we also, of course, we're a city, we have brownfield sites. So one thing that we did before the pandemic was we had pretty much property engagement initiative. We had our first one in early with late 2019, and pretty much we had a pretty much a pop-up event on one of our sites in the neighborhoods, which was the brownfield, and that initiated not only communication but also traffic to that site to see the site. And it was an old mechanic shop, and what the possibilities can be. And the blessing was we not only got offer for purchase of the property, which we're still working out the details because the brownfield site of the environmentals, but it was a purchase of the property from a minority business that had residents that worked for that business, and the owners also lived in the neighborhood, but their business was located outside the city of Kalamazoo. In that process, it brought that business back into the city and also enhanced the ability of that owner and business to hire even more local individuals to pretty much expand their business. And so one of the main things that we've been trying to do because of Imagine Kalamazoo is really focus on entrepreneurship development, especially on the micro business side, but also workforce development. And that's one of our next initiative is that everyone doesn't want to quote unquote start a business, but if they don't want to start a business, they need to have hopefully a job that has living wage that can support their families. So we're trying to assist hopefully in 2022 in the planning process to enhance the ability of our workforce development initiatives here in the region to really focus on our Pacific neighborhoods to assist them in that area. So if you by chance don't want to quote unquote start a business, or you start a business and find out it's not for you, that you really just want a regular job, we're going to focus on that population to assist them to hopefully stabilize their household and also open up opportunities for them as well. And so, like I said, one of the key factors that's been happening as well in our community, I'm not sure if everyone knows, Michigan is pretty much a cannabis state. And so that's been a growing component here as well in the city. So we're going to be focused on that to expand that capability, hopefully to create hopefully a future like cannabis chamber that can really focus on that, not only quote unquote business growth, but also working with the community to identify possible future employees coming out of our neighborhoods, but also opening up education on even starting a cannabis business as well in the community. And another growth component, which is always interesting with these three growth components here that's happening in the city, is that you have the cannabis growth component that's happening right now, coffee shops that's growing, and then we have our microbreweries that's growing. So those three tiers are very interesting to see those entities growing in the city, but also thriving in the process of participation here in the community. So as I stated, one of the key components for what we're doing is small business growth and development, supporting what we already have, existing business development, but also expanding the platform so that we can hopefully galvanize growth in our pretty much inner city neighborhoods of business, entrepreneurship, and workforce development to enhance the ability of those individuals to be not only successful, but a component of change and growth in our community. So that is it. I'm here to answer any questions about any of the programming and development that we have here in the city of Kalamazoo.
Thank you so much for your comments, Antonio. What I think we'll do is we're going to go ahead and have Mandy Bishop from the city of Columbus come, and then we'll have questions and answers for all of our panelists together. Mandy, the show is yours.
Well, thank you so much, man. Antonio, you're speaking my language. So I really appreciated his presentation and sharing about the equity component of his program and his focus. You know, for the city of Columbus, we did win the USDOT Smart City Challenge. And when we won that challenge, we didn't win an award, but rather took on the job of proving out the readiness and effectiveness of emerging transportation technologies that impact people's lives. We pursued this opportunity to take a leadership position in defining the future of cities. As in all innovation endeavors, we knew some things would work and some things would not, but we would benefit from those learnings. And we learned a lot about our community, and we learned more about our people, and we really tried to serve our people and our residents with the Smart City Challenge program. So we did win $50 million. We were up against 77 other cities, and we won in 2016. And we have advanced that award and delivered the program through the end of May of 2021. And I'm going to share a little bit about that program. My perspective is going to be a little bit unique in the entrepreneurship innovation space, as I'm more on the delivery side, but also want to share some of the platforms, the engagement platforms that we developed with our partners, some of the tools that we use to encourage entrepreneurship, and some of the tools that we use to encourage innovation. And so our mayor firmly believes that mobility is the great equalizer of the 21st century. And that is really what our program is founded on. Even as we demonstrated technologies, whether it be autonomous vehicles, connected vehicles, electric vehicles, charging infrastructure, or navigation tools, we really focused on the resident, and we deployed our entire program with prosperity in mind. We wanted to show how safer, cleaner, and more equitable transportation options could create opportunity for Columbus residents and really prepare our region for the future. We took on a strategy that was connected, autonomous, shared, and electric, that really was going to be our strategy with respect to transportation, whether we won this award or not. We were really seeking to future-proof our economy. Hopefully this video will show it play and you can ever hear it. I'm going to launch this.
In 2016, Columbus won the $50 million Smart City Challenge, a chance to test the newest transportation technologies to make our city safer and more sustainable, while also preparing for growth and creating opportunity for residents.
Every sector of our community rallied to win the challenge and to turn it into a launch pad that would make Columbus an epicenter of mobility innovation.
Since winning the challenge, we've deployed the most robust portfolio of groundbreaking mobility technologies of any city in the country.
And we've done it in partnership with more than 100 partners and in collaboration with over 100,000 residents.
We've deployed autonomous vehicles to connect residents to services and tested how connected vehicles can make our streets safer. We've created tools to make it easier to navigate transit and increased electric vehicle adoption to ready our city for the future. And we did it all with people in mind, using these tools to create access to jobs and healthcare, and to reduce emissions and fight climate change. Thanks to the Smart City Challenge, we've attracted investment to the region and worked to reduce congestion so our city can grow smarter. Working together, we've created pathways to prosperity for our residents.
Thanks to the Pivot app, I'm able to get myself to and from work as an essential worker easier than ever using a bus and scooter.
Food deliveries from the GLIn2 helped ensure that our neighbors got the nourishment they needed to stay safe and healthy.
Working as an operator for the GLIn2 not only equipped me with a unique skill set, it allowed me to serve my community and gave me the means to provide for my family when I needed it the most.
The Wayfinder app, it helps me get around city better.
As Jose's travel partner, it's been incredible to see him experience places like the North Market for the first time.
Finding a parking place through Park Columbus before I leave home gives me peace of mind when I'm heading downtown or to the short north.
The safety alerts were helpful. It made me aware of some things I wouldn't have noticed otherwise. It made me feel safer as I took my granddaughter back and forth to dance every day.
Through the Smart City Challenge, we helped connect residents with opportunity and created a roadmap that cities around the country can follow. Today, mobility innovation is thriving in our city. The challenge harnessed Columbus's collaborative spirit and inspired innovation throughout our region.
Smart Columbus challenged us to think differently about how we get to work and how we design our work environment.
We've applied what we learned in Columbus to projects in 20 other cities nationwide.
We've gained valuable insight from Rides for Baby and are now expanding same-day transportation benefits to better serve our clients.
Thanks to the Smart Cities Challenge, we're becoming a city of the future, recognized globally for innovation, giving us an edge over cities for investment, development, and talent.
Columbus now leads the nation for autonomous vehicle research and real-world deployments, attracting even more activity to the region.
We're making unprecedented investments in electric vehicle infrastructure and renewable energy, changing our region's trajectory for greenhouse gas emissions.
We're building from the lessons of the challenge to transform other aspects of our community, using technology and data to improve access to food, job training, and other critical community services. Together, we've uncovered new ways to create opportunity and improve quality of life for our residents. Moving forward, Smart Columbus will look beyond mobility, anticipating what's new and next at the intersection of technology and community good, so that we can address some of our community's most pressing challenges, from access to jobs to digital connectivity to climate change. Columbus, thank you for innovating with us through this incredible opportunity. We look forward to working with you to continue to become a modern and thriving city. Everyone has a role to play so that we can create prosperity and together transport our city to the future. In 2016.
Okay. So I could probably just stop there with the video, but you can tell that our program had a very heavy equity focus. That was what was most important for us during the program, was really to serve our residents and show how transportation could really change their lives. I heard a statistic today, and this is something people should really think about when we're looking at transportation and economic growth and competitiveness, is that commuting time is a better predictor of social mobility than education quality, family structure, and local crime rates. So commute time. Think about people trying to access jobs via bus. For us, we're seeing commute times in that 40 to 90 minute range one way, and how that is not equitable. So we're really focused on bringing transportation opportunities to the community. I'm going to transition a little bit to our first finish line. Was really focused on electrifying the transportation sector. And during that, during the Paul G. Allen grant, the $10 million of the $50 million that we won, we were really looking to get more people to buy electric vehicles, build the charging infrastructure to support it, and ultimately decarbonize our electric grid so that we didn't have a transfer disbenefit where we were still using gas and coal fire plants. And because of the Paul G. Allen grant, one of the items that One Columbus, our private sector development arm, shared with us is that over 50% of their automotive projects that are in the pipeline right now are electric vehicle focused. And so we leveraged our program to create, to attract business to the region and bring them into the Smart Columbus family. Our vision and our mission were very simple. We really wanted to empower residents to live their best lives. You can read the rest of it. We wanted to provide those options to them so they could do it. And our mission was really how to demonstrate how intelligent transportation system components and equitable access to the transportation system can really have positive impacts on everyday challenges faced by cities. And we did that. Our portfolio is very broad. It's very large. Again, our first finish line was our connected vehicle program with that $10 million generously given to us by the Paul G. Allen Family Foundation. And then we also had another $40 million plus $19 million in local contribution to deliver the US DOT portfolio of automated vehicles. We hear a lot about those right now. Connected vehicles, trip planning applications. We're seeing more and more mobility. People talk about, your phone is your new mobility tool so that you can get around and navigate. And we tried a number of other things with our prenatal trip assistance application, connecting moms to be with doctor's appointments and food, and also trying to manage our parking in our central business district and one of our entertainments district, and really tried to leverage our technology again to serve the residents of the community, and then also leverage that technology to create innovation and spur more innovation in the region. One of the platforms I want to talk about today is our Acceleration Partner Program. We had 71 leading local employers that really engaged through the Acceleration Partner Program, and that was led by the Columbus Partnership with Alex Slaymaker teaming with our team, with our city team on delivery to engage these folks in a number of different ways. And they were really trying to get leadership buy-in. If you don't have buy-in at the top, at the CEO level, it's not going to buy in at the employee level. We were really helping them analyze return on investment and buy and shift to an electric fleet. Some of that was somewhat a little bit stymied by the availability of vehicles. A lot of the big fleets are mid and heavy duty trucks. We were also working with them to install electric vehicle charging stations in their garages for their employees, for their own fleets. And then we were really working with their employees to educate them on just driving less and driving electric, letting them know what options are out there, trying to make using CODA less scary. We launched the C-Pass program, which was a free bus pass for downtown workers during this. That was launched by the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission and the Downtown Special Improvement District. So really leveraging our regional partners and our improvement districts to help us launch a movement in the region and not just deliver a grant. And then we were really trying to incentivize behavior change with mobility benefits that were sometimes matched by Vulcan funds with the acceleration partners that were at the table. Here's just a little bit of the partner successes. Again, we had 71 employers committed. We have 60 CEOs are now driving electric, or folks in the C-suite. 61 work sites that have charging that didn't have it when we started this grant. We gave so many test rides just to expose people to the technology and encourage them to understand it and like it, and just play that touch a truck that we often do on the public sector side, and then really getting more employers to develop new mobility benefit programs that benefit both existing employees, but also attract new employees to the team. And so we are continuing to sustain some of our projects. And when we do that, we're continuing to garner industry interest. So we have a lot of folks approaching us to leverage our connected vehicle network. It is available. You simply need security certificates to do it, and we can help connect people to that. We have a strategic partnership with Accenture, where we're continuing to develop the operating system. It was built using open source code. So we're working with them to create value for the city in the areas of traffic management and understanding and serving our traffic management team so they can respond more quickly to incidents, but also have more insights into the existing system and be proactive about response and develop new technology or new strategies to respond to traffic incidents. They're taking that code and supporting that code and continuing to develop it and pursuing other opportunities for implementation throughout the country and really throughout the world. So we're going to see more use and adoption of that code as they continue pursuits. The city serves as an advisor to them and helping them understand how the benefits translate to transportation as well as under other departments. And then we have our parking services application, which serve our residents. And then we did continue our food service delivery, not using the automated vehicle, but through a traditional ICE-powered internal combustion engine vehicle. So lots of excitement around project sustainment, not just from a delivery perspective, but also from an industry and economic development perspective. One of the other platforms we developed was an entrepreneur in residence. We had a gentleman named Ryan, and I can't think of his last name right now, blanked, but he launched Share immediately following his Entrepreneur in Residence program. He's been very successful in the community, provides first mile, last mile solutions here locally. He's running in the city of Dublin. He's running in a number of other areas throughout central Ohio. And that was one of our great successes. We also hired companies like that were women-owned businesses, and we took a chance on a new company called GIS. It was started by people that were proven to the city through other companies, and they brought great open source solutions to the table for our Pivot transportation app. So again, we really tried to leverage the investment that was made by the USDOT as well as the Paul G. Allen Foundation to benefit the region, grow jobs, and invest in our future, not just deliver an award. And by our calculation, and we worked with a resident that came in and evaluated the impact of aligned regional investments. So these are investments that weren't directly related to delivery of the USDOT Smart City Challenge, like the Honda wind tunnel test. It was like $135 million investment. That's an aligned regional investment. We had the Smart Center that was at our Transportation Research Center to test automated and connected vehicles and other transportation technology. That was a $35 million aligned investment. And we saw that it, based on that calculation, that it created about 3,900 jobs. Then our direct impact from our award was $42 million in direct investment that created, I think it was 720 direct jobs due to the delivery, and spurred another over 3,000 that for a total of 4,200 jobs. And so what's next for Smart Columbus? I think I should have described Smart Columbus at the beginning. It is an informal public-private partnership between the City of Columbus and the Columbus Partnership. I call them our super chamber. They are I think it's the top 72 CEOs in the region, along with Cardinal Health, Nationwide, Fifth Third, Chase Bank, president and CEO. So it's just a number of leaders in the community. And we are still partnered. Our Alex Fisher and our chief of staff, Ken Paul, co-chair the new board. And it's really focusing on what's next, what's new and next at the intersection of technology and community good. Again, we're really focused on leveraging technology for the improvement of our community and then the advancement of all people, bringing prosperity for all. Here are 4 of the focus areas. Mobility. We spent 4 years talking about mobility. We will focus. I'm an employee of the Department of Public Service. I'll continue to focus on my transportation and mobility responsibilities. SMART will sometimes bring new things to the table for us to explore. And not by say us, regional partners. They are a key partner in the adoption of our climate action plan. They have some focus areas with respect to buildings and transportation. We're leveraging the Accelerator Partner platform that we built. They're focused on digitalization. Broadband equity came to the forefront during the pandemic, and we cannot have equity without broadband access. And then ultimately, we're also looking, Smart Columbus will continue to look at emerging urban technologies and in areas where in things that are coming online and at the forefront where we may want to test them out, or really where we may want to pursue partnership and try to bring that industry in. I can think of one where we're really focused on UAV, UAM. We have a great partnership with the state with their Fly Ohio initiative, and it's just been a pretty amazing opportunity to work with them. I'm going to skip these next couple slides. The video really said it all, but we did have a lot of opportunity to partner and make an impact in people's lives through the program. Again, SMART is just the start for all of us. I am Mandy Bishop. I am now still the Deputy Director of Public Service, and I look forward to answering any questions that you guys have moving forward, and just happy to be here today.
Well, thank you so much, Mandy. I really appreciate it. George, if you'd bring our whole team up, we'll have a discussion. And one of the things that I want the entire team to discuss is what has it taken to get your community to embrace the entrepreneurial and innovation support in a really meaningful way. And I'll just kind of do round robin from the way I see things. So Antonio, would you start, and then we'll go to Paula and Mandy.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
So one component, I think, because of our Imagine Kalamazoo 2025 initiative, it was really supported with the plan that we did, neighborhood planning as well in that process. So each neighborhood had to put together their own plan, pretty much strategic on how the city could, quote unquote, assist in this process of their growth and development. And 100% of the neighborhoods said pretty much entrepreneurship development, because one thing we find out is a lot of people have, as they call, little side hustles, but they're not businesses. They're, like, I'm doing this, I'm selling this, I'm doing this. And so one thing that we want to do over the last couple of years is transition that side hustle into a real business component. And we had to, one, prove that these businesses were out there. One thing you say, oh, we want to help small businesses, especially these micro businesses, but where are they? Where do they exist? And so when we created the funding opportunity, the businesses came, and the key was the funding opportunity was a grant. As my fellow entrepreneur economic development panelists know, people do not want to take a loan if they don't have to, especially if they have a small business to take on additional debt. And so we kept that in mind with the development of our programming, but particularly kept that in mind in the sense of what do these businesses need. So we start off with a lot of technical assistance development, working with our community college, working with our SBDC here locally here at Western Michigan University, and pretty much not only identify those businesses from our studies that we had, but also then implemented the plans to assist them to get to that next level, which has been very exciting. And that's we're going into this second, really third year of this process. Now, like I said, we got around 170 micro businesses that we got to really focus on in that growth and development. So it came from the community. The community, like I said, the buy-in from the community was in our overall development plan, for strategic plan for the city, and the neighborhood associations assisted in that process of identifying not only the opportunity, but helping us identify the businesses that we can support and develop.
Oh, that's great that you're able to help that 170 plus businesses. That's great. Paula, what have you found are the challenges in Flint?
So thanks for asking. Antonio, I totally agree with you. It starts with buy-in, right? So particularly in our office, we've created a great relationship with our community partners, with our entrepreneurs. So we're kind of a trusted source of assistance in the community, and I think that's essential. But beyond that, we have some really great local champions in Flint, most notably the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation. They believe in the power of entrepreneurship, the value of entrepreneurship, especially as we work with our local entrepreneurs with some of these micro businesses. They really, really believe in instilling the entrepreneurial mindset at a young age, working closely with our community partners, and putting money behind it. And then thirdly, as of 2 years ago, we have a new chancellor at the University of Michigan Flint, and he also believes in the value of innovation and entrepreneurship. And our office used to be called the Office of University Outreach. He's renamed it the Office of Economic Development. He's putting money behind it. He's, really being a champion on behalf of all of us. So I think all of us working together, getting that buy-in, getting the support from foundations, I think that's what's really helping our ecosystem. So I think I'm just really echoing what Antonio said, but I really believe that's what it takes.
And thank you. And Mandy, you did a lot of work with Smart Columbus on equity in diverse communities that were experiencing the digital divide. How did you help engage them to embrace the vision that Smart Columbus had?
Sure. And we really took a grass tops approach. So we work with those that were trusted in the community to help build relationships. And we embedded our communications project manager at every level. A lot of our technology was deployed in opportunity neighborhoods in order to really advance and improve the visibility of the challenges that we faced. We also focused on executive engagement and regional alignment. We got our executives excited about we got them informed about what transportation really meant to their business and their industry and how it could bring more workers to their ranks and help the community rise together. And from a regional perspective, we developed strong partnerships with our state Department of Transportation, our state in general. Governor DeWine has been great to work with. And then launching with leveraging our other assets like our Transportation Research Center, TRC. They're doing more work locally, and they're doing more work managing a new facility out in California. So we really built a strong alignment, starting with our residents first, but then building on executive engagement and regional alignment.
Okay, great. Paula, we have a question from Carter Anderson asking if you had any advice on getting the word out for your kids' program, and how did you get the students interested in your program?
Oh, well, great question. Thank you. So the way we work the Young Sharks and Junior Sharks program is we first have a professional development session for the educators. And in that session, we go through the entire curriculum just as they would do with their classes. And then they get their curriculum to take back to their classrooms. And we continue to work with them when they're implementing the lessons. Then each group of kids is creating their own business, and the teacher's working closely with them, and we're checking in. And then at the end of the session, that's when we hold that virtual pitch competition, and there is funding with that. So, I mean, that also gets the teachers and the students, a little more excited about the program. But I can tell you the kids and the teachers absolutely love this program. It's different because it really does incorporate for the teacher those key points that they need to be teaching in those grades anyway. So they're much, much more willing to integrate this into what they're already doing, as opposed to just asking them to add one more thing to their very busy schedule. But I would be happy to, I don't know, Megan, are you sharing our contact information? If anybody's interested, I'd be more than happy to, have a Zoom call or provide more information.
Great. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Since you all work with cities, counties, municipalities, and whatnot, as you were doing your work to expand innovation and entrepreneurship, did you see any significant policies that needed to be changed or altered? Go ahead, Antonio.
Yes. We're not older cities. We're not as big as Columbus, of course. But one thing is that because we're an older community, our zoning. So we've been focused on a lot of the zoning changes. We're going to be focusing a little bit more on additional zoning changes in our corridors for business growth and development to make them more, as they say, current. In the process of our growth. Plus, we're looking at right now, because I was stating next year, we're really going to focus on home-based business development and expansion, continue that effort to change people's hustles into a real business. Is that we have to look at our zoning on what type of businesses can go in a home and what those requirements are. So that's part of our process next year with that growth and development, is to make sure our zoning fits the characteristics of business growth and development that we're looking for in the future. And hopefully someday we can get, I'm loving Mandy's Columbus E focus. That's been something that we've been talking about. The issue has been our infrastructure, which they've invested in. I think that's one of the things that we're looking into right now as well, with streets and improvements, hopefully with the more electrical grid being a little more efficient towards the needs of this growth. But I'm envious of Columbus and what you guys that using that money to do that was spectacular. But that's been our issue, is making sure our zoning fits the business growth and development that quote unquote is happening in the community. And so everyone is quote unquote in compliance with their business growth and development plans here in the city of Kalamazoo.
Thank you so much. Mandy, you had some comments?
The biggest thing that we ran into policy-wise that we needed to change was really related to our autonomous vehicles. At the time we were ready to deploy autonomous vehicles, our laws were silent on whether they were permitted or not. And so Governor Kasich at the time issued an executive order to clarify that they were going to be permissive under specific contexts. And so I think when we all seek to innovate, we have to look at the regulatory environment and see what is going to prevent us from doing things. And that was one of our biggest things that we identified, which was quickly solved.
That's great. Paula, did you have something to add?
Yeah, just quickly. Since we are a university, we're not a municipality, we realized the challenges around permitting and zoning. So what we have tried to do is, help our municipalities think through some of those processes. And, some municipalities are going to be easier to work with in terms of permitting than others. But specifically around issues like pop-up businesses and food trucks, for example, some communities embrace those kinds of enterprises and others really don't have the ability to do that very quickly. So what we've tried to do is work with those municipalities that allow it, and that kind of will prove to others that there is some value in those kinds of enterprises. And, a lot of our entrepreneurs, that's how they start out, right? And then when we talk about permitting, just really trying to work with municipalities to make that as seamless as possible and sticking with our entrepreneurs along the way, because we know that there are challenges on both sides.
Absolutely. We have a question from Anthony Washington saying, have you found any resistance getting the different communities aligned organizations in your city to work together as a shared resource? And if so, what were some of the things that helped?
I would say we definitely did have some challenges getting resources, particularly once the pandemic started. We ultimately did lose some access to those resources. One of the biggest things that we did early on with Smart Columbus is, again, we tried to create that regional alignment, create a common nomenclature, a common language that we were all speaking, and really help people understand what the end game was. And basically, when we did, after we got through that stage of understanding, we didn't have a ton of challenges again until we kind of hit the pandemic. And I think that was the game changer for everybody. But really working with everyone, being communicative and transparent was key to our success.
ARPA dollars have been kind of flowing around a number of communities. Are there any specific initiatives that the ARPA dollars have really helped you with the innovation and the acceleration of entrepreneur support?
So I can't speak to ARPA, but we did, I referenced the College of Innovation and Technology. We did receive CARES Act funding from the EDA to construct a new building for that. And I just want to follow up with the last question. Our office, a few years ago, we discovered that sometimes entrepreneurs just don't know where to go because some things aren't always coordinated. So we created an app, MISTARTSMART, MyStartSmart.com. And, in our 7-county region, if you're a potential entrepreneur or an existing entrepreneur, you can look at that app and look at different categories of services and find those that are in your area, and they're mapped out. That's MyStartSmart.com. That has been very helpful for our local entrepreneurs.
That's great. Thank you. And Antonio, you mentioned the ALICE, Asset Limited Income. What was the C in that?
Oh, the C is constrained. Okay. Asset limited income constrained employed is ALICE. And the key was with that is that once you identify what that was a barrier that we saw in those communities. And so because of the funding, the question about, what funding, we were blessed, like I said, of the philanthropy of individuals in our community to put together funds to assist us with the Foundation for Excellence, which gave us access to dollars to really specifically focus on family development in the sense of how do you stabilize and create more equity in the community. And of course, we're using some of those dollars for infrastructure and housing, but on the economic development side, That's where an entrepreneurship components came about, and also the workforce development is going to come about the next couple of years to assist in that aspect, to expand upon the existing platforms. One thing, like I said, what are you doing, regionally wise, beyond Kalamazoo? We're trying to hopefully work with the Kalamazoo Foundation to expand our platform beyond just the city limits. We're not trying to pull every business into the city. Economic development wise, it's always a good thing to compete, but we want to reach a stronger region, not just a stronger city. And so we're trying to assist with the growth of the programming that we've already created that's been successful, hopefully to grow beyond just the city of Kalamazoo.
Thank you, Mandy. Did you have any comments to that question?
I don't.
Okay. Well, I would like to thank all of you for sharing your insights and your thoughts and stories about your communities. We really appreciate all the great work that you all have done to support innovation, entrepreneurship, and really expanding the competitiveness of each of your communities that we can learn from. We are going to take a break. Our next panel is going to be at 10:30, and we're going to talk about corporate innovation. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Wonderful having you on this panel today at the Great Lakes Innovation Summit.